Hey everyone, welcome back into the video. So we gotta talk about this because this is an interesting topic, as Sonic Team did a recent interview and they were asked about possibly the idea of more remasters slash remakes for the Sonic franchise. Here's what they had to say. What we learned: Nakamura was originally supposed to be an alien with psychic powers, but before finally being designed as a hedgehog from the future. When asked about the next step forward, he says that Sonic Team will take inspiration from past iteration of games. Then here's the remastered part. When asked if Sonic Team will remake or remaster past games like 06 and hits like Heroes, Adventure 1 to even consider Sonic Adventure 3. He says that old and new games remain appealing. He has previously said that he personally wishes for the opportunity to remake 2006. Now that's interesting, that one specifically. That one interests me the most out of those titles that he mentioned outside of Adventure 3 because of how controversial Sonic 06 is, man. Like, up until recently, Sega did not want to fuck around with even talking about Sonic 06 to begin with. For good reason, with how controversial that game was. I mean, for crying out loud, like, outside of Sonic Generations, they acted like the game did not exist. And for good reason, because how controversial it was, how cringe the story for Sonic was. I know people like found Silver's gameplay to be bad. I thought it was okay. It did get annoying at times, admittedly, but I thought it was alright, especially for a first attempt for a new character like Silver. So I thought it was an interesting idea. Hey, maybe they could give Silver his own game. Just saying though, Sonic Team, maybe something you want to explore, maybe? Hint, hint, you know, kind of like how they've been exploring Shadow recently. Maybe give Silver the same treatment, huh? It'll be an interesting idea. Just saying though, guys. But yeah, back to the topic at hand. Sonic 06 though. If they're to remake it, I know people were talking about the whole rewriting the story thing. That'd be kind of interesting because of how bad the story really was written, especially for Sonic and Silver, because it was written so integral on the release as a whole because of everything that's happened with that. But there was some good moments though, admittedly though. But if they were to do it, if they're rewritten, I'd be okay with it. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, it would ruin the game." I'm like, that's kind of the whole point because they're trying to essentially learn from their mistake with Sonic 06, and a remake would give them that opportunity to do it. And considering how they've been more confident in the Sonic franchise as a whole, Sega especially recently, I could see them doing it. It would be a massive undertaking, but I think they'd be up for the challenge, honestly. And if they actually pull it off successfully, it would change the perception of Sonic as a franchise forever, really, because you would be taking one of the worst reviewed games of all time, especially for the Sonic franchise as a whole. That game, Sonic 06, did a lot of damage to the franchise. I cannot understate just how much damage it did. Like, even the most diehard defenders will agree on that. It did a lot of damage to Sonic as a whole. Because the franchise was looked at as a joke by the wider gaming community for a while. And up until recently, like, they started taking the series much more seriously again. Especially after the success of Frontiers and Sonic Mania and now Sonic X Shadow Generations. Like the Sonic series has been going through a renaissance lately. Ever since they started releasing the movies and all that. Which, that looked like a dumpster fire at first before it came out, then ended up being a huge success. So, and garnered a lot more interest for Sonic. Like, the movies actually did a lot of good for the series as a whole in terms of it getting a lot more attention. And because it did so well, we got the really good Sonic Frontiers. Then we got the newest remaster, which was Sonic X Shadow Generations, which is amazing, especially Shadow Story. And one of the reasons why I defended 06 in the past is because of how really good Shadow Story was, in terms of how it was written. Because up until Shadow Generations, I thought 06 had the best written Shadow Story in terms of the video games. I've said that for a long time. Really long time. So that should kind of tell you that there are some good with Sonic 06. There are some good with it, especially when it comes to the Shadow Story. Now, will they rewrite it? That could be an interesting idea. And like I said before, I know people were possibly against this. I'm like, dude, guys, like, that would be a good thing. Because, let's be real though, the story was absolute shit, for the most part. Most people, I think, would agree with me on that one. Especially with the entire focus around Elise as a whole. Especially that infamous scene, if you know what I'm talking about. For people who fully played the game, you know what I'm talking about. But, yeah though. Sonic 06, yeah, that'd definitely be a remake I would be interested in. Very, very interested in. Now, what do I do? If I do want a story remake, I would like for them to rewrite the story in some aspects. Maybe kind of make it like where the game's story wasn't erased. But all at the same time, though, how about some cut content in there, guys? Huh? Remember that day and night cycle that was cut from Sonic 06? I know it was kind of made a huge thing in Unleashed. It still would have been cool, though, as an option for them to bring that back in this possibility remake. Again, I'm not saying this is going to happen or anything. Sonic Team's kind of playing with the idea, so I'm not saying it's going to happen. But it would be cool if it did, though. You know what I mean? It would be pretty cool, though. And by the way, Sonic 06 isn't really playable on modern platforms anyway. The only way you can really play it is through emulation on PC or fan recreations like Project Sonic 06 or whatever it's called. Like I'm showing you in the gameplay right now. And there's also, you know, unless you had like the original hardware, that'd be the only other ways you can really play Sonic 06. So, for the most part, the game is not really that playable. Or accessible, I mean, I should say. Now, will they do it? I don't know. If you were to ask me, say, like 5 years ago, no. I would have said flat out, hell no. That Sega would never touch it. But nowadays, I could see them possibly doing it. Will they though? I don't know. Like I said, previously in the past, I would have said hell no. But now, it seems they're more open to Sonic 06 existing as a whole. Which is kind of funny because, like, maybe a little foreshadowing with the whole Mephiles thing where he said, I want to exist before you obliterate him at the end of his boss battle in Shadow Generations. So it's kind of funny though, because that just shows you how he's the only one who besides Sonic and Lisa, who remembers the story of 06 in the first place. And Shadow's like, who the hell are you? It was kind of funny after he stealed again. He's like, you have no future. Ever. I'm like, ooh, that's pretty savage there, Shadow. But yes, I would be very interested in a remake. Will it happen though? Time will tell, but I'd be very interested in it. Especially if it's like a full-blown remake from the ground up. That actually changes things. And probably for the better. Let's be real here. So yeah, I'd be down for it. But that's all I gotta say on this topic. What do you guys think? Do you want a Sonic 06 remake? And if you do, what changes would you put to it? Whether it's gameplay or story-wise or anything. Let me know down in the comment section below. I'm very interested in seeing what you guys have to say on this. But that's it for me, and I'll see you on the next one. Till then, have a good one.